Iranians chanting death to America and waving down with the USA flags, taking over the streets of Tehran after Operation Midnight Hammer. Iran's president even seen at one of these protests condemning U.S. strikes on Iran's nuclear sites. Deputy Director of the U.S. Office of the National Council of Resistance of Iran, Alireza Jafarzadeh, joins me now. Alireza, great to see you as always. These protesters are what the regime in Iran wants us to see. But what are you hearing from your sources as to how the majority of Iranians actually viewed these strikes?
Well, certainly, Todd, this is the most the regime could do, just line up their own forces into the streets. And remember, for the past 44 years, the Ayatollahs have been doing these kind of rallies, chanting death to America, death to Israel, death to the MEK, which is the main opposition movement in Iran that is actually responsible for exposing much of the nuclear sites in Iran. That's where they're concerned. The regime is benefiting at this time because everyone is so focused on the situation of the war and everything. But they know once the war ends, the population have rejected this regime over the years. The mullahs benefited from the policy of appeasement. When we exposed these nuclear sites in Natanz, in Fordo, in so many other sites, the world had a chance to stop them. They didn't. They gave them concessions. They gave them money. They legitimized the whole program. Now that era is over. The regime is facing a very important existential threat, and that's the people of Iran. Remember, there have been several rounds of major uprisings in Iran since 2018. People chanting death to the dictator, death to the oppressor, being the Shah or the supreme leader. That's where the real threat is, and that's why our leader, Mrs. Mariam Rajavi, right after the strikes, she said, now is the time for Khamenei to go. Okay. Now is the time for the opportunity, neither concessions or appeasement, nor war. Now is the time for standing on the side of the people of Iran to end the rule of the clerics, standing on the side of those resistance units who are confronting the Revolutionary Guards.
So that begs the question, does it happen? What ultimately comes next? While Secretary Hegseth said in that press conference yesterday that this strike was not about regime change, President Trump really did leave the door open in this Truth Social post yesterday. Quote, "It's not politically correct to use the term regime change, but if the current Iranian regime is unable to make Iran great again, why wouldn't there be a regime change?" And then he writes, "MIGA, make Iran great again." You are one of the most foremost experts on possible regime change in Iran. Do you expect it to happen ultimately now following these strikes?
Well, certainly the position that President Trump has taken and the U.S. administration is prudent because no one is asking the United States to do the fighting for the people of Iran or the Western nations the same way. There is no need for boots on the ground or appropriation of money. Unfortunately, the policy in the past 30 years has been exactly the opposite, giving pallets of cash to the mullahs, legitimizing the regime, neglecting or rejecting the people. Now the situation has turned. It's a great opportunity for the outside world to see the realities, as President Trump said, that is upon the people of Iran to bring down the mullahs. And let me tell you, there's not going to be chaos after the fall of the Ayatollahs. Mrs. Mariam Rajavi has introduced a 10-point platform for the future of Iran based on separation of religion and state, gender equality, peace in the Middle East, and a non-nuclear republic form of government. She has defined a transitional period that after the fall of the Ayatollahs, within 6 months, there's going to be free and fair elections leading to the formation of a national and constituent assembly, and it will be the representatives of the people of Iran who will determine the future of the course. So everything is very clear. One thing is well known now is that the mullahs must go. All the indications are there. The regime relied heavily on the nuclear weapons program to stay in power. They spent $2 trillion on that. They spent money on the proxies. All of that is now gone. Now is the opportunity for change.
We will be watching. And the fact that you mentioned a woman possibly taking charge in the Middle East, in Iran, of all places, is absolutely shocking. Before we let you go, about 3 hours ago, the Iranian deputy foreign minister said, quote, "We will continue uranium enrichment. No one can tell us what to do," sounding like my 5-year-old. Can the regime back up that bluster?
Well, you know, that's their modus operandi for the past 4 decades. They just make statements and, you know, rhetoric, but the reality on the ground is so different. Remember, this regime is not the same regime that was 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 5 years ago. They lost much of their clout in the whole region. Their biggest ally, Assad, is gone. Hezbollah, Houthis, the Shia militias, they have been badly shattered. The people of Iran are against them. They lost the nuclear weapons program, which was meant to guarantee the survival of the regime. All of that is gone. So they can talk as much as they want until the last day that they fall. This is the policy of all of the dictators. They seem to be and talk the way that they're invincible until they fall.
Alireza Jafarzadeh, a true expert in all issues Iranian. We appreciate you lending us your insight this morning. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, Todd. Always a pleasure.
Carla.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.